They want to play with fire? Then let's turn up the heat.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at 10 games that got delisted in 2022.
Welcome to Babylon.
As licensed games and live services become more of a regular part of the gaming market, expect more and more titles to get pulled from storefronts. 2022 was certainly a prime example of what's to come. Which of these games did you get to play before they disappeared into the ether? Press F to pay your respects to these games down in the comments.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Hyperscape. When Ubisoft launched their own Battle Royale in 2020, we were just as dumbfounded as the rest of the gaming community. Why, in the year 2020, are you launching a game that's going to have to compete with Fortnite, Apex Legends, and PUBG? The market was already swallowed by those three titles alone. Hyperscape wound up suffering a fate similar to the dozens upon dozens of other battle royales out there. Everyone already found one they liked, and they all had unique art styles, gameplay, and total support. Hyperscape was generic and did nothing to distinguish itself from its competitors, thus hurling itself into the abyss when it shut down back in April. Overwatch. Rest in pieces, Overwatch. Blizzard Entertainment's online FPS was a massive hit for a time, but had fallen by the wayside in the last couple years after Blizzard announced they were done adding new content to the game. Fast forward to October 2022, when Blizzard launched Overwatch 2. To make sure the entire player base jumped over, Blizzard went and pulled the plug on the original Overwatch the day before its sequel went live. Regardless of how you feel about the new game, whether you prefer the 6v6 gameplay or the loot box mechanics, Overwatch 2 is now the only option you have. You have basically been bullied into playing the new iteration. Override, Mech City Brawl. For as small as it was compared to most multiplayer games, and most fighting games for that matter, Override managed to amass a modest enough player base to justify a few downloadable characters despite middling reviews. Even more surprising, Override would get a sequel in 2020. Unfortunately, it came at a cost, and we lost the original game just as we lost the original Overwatch. Though developer Modus Games announced the game's removal on September 29th, no specific reason was given as to why it was happening. DelistedGames.com speculates that the removal was done due to the closure of Amazon GameSparks, which offered back-end support for Override, i.e. account management, achievement integration, premium currency, that whole shtick. And they did that for a variety of other online games. We will see another one of their victims of this event in a little bit. Fast and Furious Crossroads.
Let me know what you find when you get there.
Where will you be?
I need to go check on our boy.
With Fast and Furious being more successful than ever, one would anticipate the franchise would be ripe for some solid video games. Alas, Crossroads was one of the worst games in recent years. So much so that we even put it on our list of worst games of 2020 over on Watch Mojo. I've played it myself. It sucks. Horrible game.
If you're gonna do this, I want you to have the best shot possible. 'Cause I love you.
I love you too.
The cars handled like frozen blocks of grease, the story was a miserable experience with its awful writing and pacing, and it was just loaded. with various bugs and glitches. There would be times where a car would just fly across the screen, for no reason. Clearly, the game performed about as poorly commercially as it did critically, and publisher Bandai Namco Entertainment put Crossroads out of its misery. As of April 2022, you can no longer purchase the game on digital storefronts.
What's going on? Why do I feel like I just missed something important?
Super Bomberman R Online. Super Bomberman R was a surprise hit for Konami, so much so that the game eventually ported to other consoles. As enticing as this online spin-off sounded, it failed to answer the same problematic question we asked Ubisoft when it came to Hyperscape. Why do we need this? Mind you, Bomberman has offered up fun multiplayer experiences before, but those expecting this to last for more than a couple years were sorely mistaken. Konami did not offer much support for this battle royale after launch, and it ultimately led to a non-existent player base. Doesn't help that R Online spent its first year as a Stadia exclusive before going multi-platform almost a year later. The fuses fizzled out on December 1st, 2022. Spellbreak. Spellbreak was a special case compared to the rest of our list, as it shut down against its will. Developer Proletariat would support their free-to-play third-person shooter battle royale for nearly 2 years before it all came to a sudden end. In June 2022, Proletariat announced the studio had been acquired by Activision Blizzard, and as a result, Spellbreak would cease support and shut down on January 9th, 2023. According to the developers themselves, Spellbreak never reached a point of sustainability to continue its investment, thus prompting them to take the acquisition deal. Proletariat has since been folded into Blizzard and will serve as a support team for World of Warcraft. As for Spellbreak, well, by the time you're seeing this video, Spellbreak is gone. The Matrix Awakens.
You still got it.
Like riding a bike, they say.
I sometimes miss this version of us.
Me too.
As the gaming community slowly makes its way into the new generation of console gaming with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series XS, early adopters might want to consider pushing deals out as far as possible to garner as many players as possible. The Matrix Awakens, on the other hand, seemed to want to leave as quickly as it arrived. Serving as a demo for Unreal Engine 5 and its capabilities on PlayStation 5 and Series XS, The Matrix Awakens was an excellent experience with its set pieces, action, and visuals. For some reason, Epic Games seemed to be in a hurry to get rid of the demo, giving players only 7 months to play it, even announcing the delisting on the day of its launch. As of July 9th, 2022, you can no longer get The Matrix Awakens. Basically, we got another PT on our hands. Damn, dude. Why?
Word of advice. Agents are bad. But whatever you do, stay the hell away from marketing.
Soul Calibur and Soul Calibur 2 HD Online.
Battle 1, fight!
This is perhaps the most mysterious and aggravating delisting in this video. For some reason, Bandai Namco Entertainment delisted these 2 legendary fighting games from whatever digital storefronts still had them. No announcements were made, no notices were given to fans. Soul Calibur got delisted in Japan and North America back in February, while Soul Calibur 2 HD Online was delisted in North America on April 1st, 2022, with its Xbox One port delisted nearly 2 months later. DelistedGames.com speculates that these delistings were done due to changes in Bandai Namco Entertainment's corporate structure, citing the way both games credit the publisher as simply Namco or Namco Bandai, as well as the division between Bandai Namco's European and North American offices. Until the publisher talks or relists the game with new credentials, we will never know why the player base had to take the brunt of this. Really, I found out they were delisted by going through my wishlist on Xbox. I was furious, man. Killer Queen Black. Of all the games to be delisted this year, Killer Queen Black, the console version of the indie arcade hit, was the most tragic loss. Killer Queen is one of the most unique and original multiplayer games we've played in a long time. Unfortunately, it was blindsided by the closure of Amazon GameSparks, just like Override. In October 2022, Liquid Bit LLC, the developer of these console ports, announced that Killer Queen Black had been removed from sale and would have its servers pulled on November 30th, 2022. The studio told fans they had tried seeking out a new provider, but the costs would have been too great as migration would require, quote, an almost complete rewrite of the game, end quote. At the time of this video, you can seemingly still buy physical copies for the Switch version from the Killer Queen website. Babylon's Fall.
Welcome to Babylon.
To see Babylon's Fall flop as hard as it did is one of the most unsurprising events of the year. After negatively received betas and previews, no one was really caught off guard by a scathing reception at launch. To see a game get pulled a mere 6 months after launch with an order by publisher Square Enix to destroy all physical copies still sitting on store shelves is something else. Very few games have suffered a fate similar to Atari's E.T. game in 1982, and in a world where live service games can potentially bounce back, some speculated Square Enix would take that gamble. Yet, here we are now with a live service game made inaccessible to purchase and which will become totally unplayable to everybody when servers close in February 2023. Here's hoping Bayonetta 3 has stabilized Platinum Games' financial situation after dealing with such a massive loss like this. If I was a fan of that studio, I'd be worried, man. I would definitely be worried.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.